Wow, this video's been a long time coming. Well, not really.
We've been so busy. Well, I've been busy. You've been busy. We've been busy. We are still going back and forth to the burnt house and grabbing things that can be salvaged and cleaning them off to be able to transport them to where we're going to be living. So yeah, it's been busy. And oh God, the dog. Apparently Craig is thirsty.
Then it's like right there, so sorry.
There's you know, I hear you talk all the time, and thank you, Craig. I hear you talk all the time about staying in your pain. And you know, I'm struggling. I'm struggling a lot. I'm struggling for many, many, many reasons. You know, there's just some things that are happening in my life and unfolding. And
As they unfold, what are you discovering?
I'm discovering that I haven't taken care of my pain.
Ooh.
And therefore, I haven't really been able to see the pain that I've caused. Right?
No.
You know, just a lot of things that I've held on to for 20 years now, right?
If not longer.
If not longer, yeah. There's a lot of other feelings that I'm feeling or I'm thinking, right?
Yep.
I'm thinking, I feel guilt and shame and
The mind has labeled those things, those particular things. That's why I stay in my pain, so I can't do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And our connection that's kind of the point of the connection.
When you were in healing from your past, when did, it's interesting because I'm struggling because I failed at so much that I was striving not to fail at,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I failed as a mother to my children.
And have you ever sat in the pain of that?
No. And that hits me like a ton of bricks, right? Because my ultimate goal was to be the best mother, not what I had, right?
Right.
You know, and then
In some ways you improve things, in some ways your pain spilled out, and it's never easy to see.
Yeah.
Because we from a very early age you're taught to suck it up, you're taught to get through it, you're taught to, you know what I mean, you're not taught to sit in what it actually feels like and discover what it's telling you, what it's trying to give you.
right.
So when I went through that, resolving that, I paid attention to what the pain first did to me. Then it wasn't then until I could see what it did to my ex-wife, what it did to my son, what it did to all of that. You can't see it. You can't, because you're blinded. You want to experience what you did there, but you can't because you haven't done it in you yet.
Right.
So you can't in connection even, I couldn't fully grasp you feeling me and me being able to feel you without that pain. So choosing that pain is how I started to heal. Choosing that pain changed my life. You can't change your mind without choosing your pain.
Right.
And your mindset is one of the hardest things to do. Because, like, for example, believing you've lost it all. I know that. I mean, lost my mom, lost you, lost, you know what I mean? I lost my everything, just lost.
Right.
And I sat in it and I cried every day.
Right.
You develop, you have a choice in those moments to go find something to kind of run away from the pain or find something crazy to do to take away from it. But if you just let yourself sit in it,
Right.
connection happens. I didn't know connection was going to happen doing that. All I knew at that point was I'm left with this feeling in me. And I first started believing I was alone in it until it started to transform. And what I mean by transform, it was like I was able, after sitting in that pain long enough, I was able to understand something more profound and the things that I was saying that didn't make sense with the way I was feeling. And the more I sat in it, the more what I was saying didn't make sense with what I was feeling. I couldn't point to anything or any space where what I was saying about my pain connected to the pain. I just knew I was sitting in that feeling, and then I could start to feel everything. I felt everything I chose. I felt everything that I did. I felt every choice I made. And I was realizing I was making all of those choices without sitting in this actual feeling, which essentially I connected all the way back to it gave me life and connection with my own mother and father.
Right.
And whatever it was that sparked that brought me here was pain. And it was so clear to me then. And that's why I wasn't talking like everybody could understand me, because I had sat in my pain, whereas they had learned how to avoid and abandon their pain. The beautiful thing about this particular deep, powerful connection is that it was telling the truth. And I didn't know how to look at the truth and then look at how it spilled out. And I realized that didn't matter. What did matter is the pain and what it did. The pain and what it caused. The pain and who it did it to. Because if you love someone, you have to first love your pain. You won't speak what your mind is, you won't speak what your feelings are if you've never sat in your pain. We're always looking for a way to avoid unnecessary pain, not realizing we're only making choices from a pain we're avoiding. So you stood by me through that. You did. You didn't get close to me. You didn't run from me. You just kind of stood there and didn't turn. The difference, I believe, in that alone is it made it so I could never say I'm alone. Because even if I talked to you, you had such compassion for my pain. And all I was learning from you in that space was how much pain have we both been able to avoid where we shouldn't have.
Right.
You know? And we want the truth to trump the pain, not realizing that you have to put truth with the pain in order to actually heal.
Gemma.
And those of you who watch the channel we share a lot of these findings within the pain of connection. See, the pain of connection isn't just twin flames, it's family, it's community, it's our world. But it starts so small because you don't see connection everywhere. You don't see people who are vulnerable enough to share their pain. The thing is when you don't know how to be vulnerable, that's the first clue that you've done something or you're doing something to your pain.
I feel this deep sort of, well, like I've been explaining to you since yesterday, heaviness. It's just really heavy. And it's as if I'm back there reliving, but with different eyes. Does that make sense? Like,
Because you didn't accept all of the pain then.
it's
Do you know what I
just
mean?
that I'm just so sorry, you know? And there's no relief from that. Does that make sense? There's no relief from the sorry.
The sorry,
Does that make sense?
yes, but the sorry prevents you from seeing what the pain needs from you. And it doesn't need isolation, it doesn't need disconnection, it needs connection. So when you have that kind of pain, you're not supposed to make your choices to kind of avoid it, you know, or just say, oh, that didn't, just act like it didn't happen. When these things happen, there's a pain that goes through us. And as you go through life, you see a lot of people who don't really share their pain.
Right.
And through the last 12 years, I've learned that without connection, you don't heal from pain. You don't. And it's really a tough spot when you finally realize it.
I really don't feel like I could have ever really even went through any type of healing without you.
When you've watched me accept my pain, you watched me accept what I've done. You watched me accept who it hurt. You watched me accept. You watched me literally sit in it and not run from it.
And I feel like, you know what I mean? So many people have been hurt by so many of my actions, right? I mean, I feel like, well, and I know, I've ruined lives that I was supposed to nurture. And there, at one point, have been many conversations, many blow-ups, many conversations, right? Where I have been able to express how I feel, but I just don't feel like I paid attention to how they feel. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but it also makes sense you did so because you weren't paying attention to how you felt. The guilt, the shame isn't the actual pain. It's our way of escaping it. It's our way of giving it purpose.
Right.
And then we make mistakes and we make choices off of a refusal to sit in it and actually what it actually feels like.
It's painful.
It's painful, but everything that births comes from pain. So it's not supposed to be the other way around.
Right.
We all keep avoiding birth. We all keep avoiding connection because we all refuse to sit in our pain. And I've noticed this same thing in every single person who wants and needs connection. They all avoid this space, not knowing that this space is the exact key you need for connection. And you can't see it because you keep thinking you're doing the right thing because we grew up around people who did the exact same thing. Or, you hear things like you're too young to understand, or you don't understand what's happening, or, or they lay it all on you. Then you're carrying that weight around and you ignore your pain. I mean, there's so many combinations of the same kind of thing happening, but it all points to a disconnect within our pain. You need your pain for connection. You need your pain for love. You need your pain for all of it. You don't know you're alive until you've actually sat in your pain. And that's not easy to do. And when I did it, I was alone, and I had to sit with how I got there.
I have, I feel, like I don't deserve.
Even your head disagrees. That's your pain talking, see? Your head even did this. That's why paying attention to what happens in the body when we do that, it's trying to tell you that's not what this is. This isn't about deserve. This is about healing. So if you're saying I don't deserve to heal, or I don't deserve anything, still points at healing not being an option. This isn't about deserve. It's never going to be about deserve. Deserve is a very dangerous game because there's parts of you that deserve and there are parts of you that don't. But why does it have to be deserve? Why can't it be a different word? Why can't it be connect?
Right. Right.
If you, it's hard to say I can't connect. It's really hard to say it in that space when you're in pain, because that's what you actually need. Yeah, you're telling me. I didn't know what to do, and
I don't know what to do. It's where I'm at. I don't
surrender to the pain. If you don't make pain
it
part
just
of you,
feels so heavy.
but the thing is the hardest part of accepting.
I want to blame, and I want to blame,
I know.
and I want to explain, right? And I want to be mad, and I want to be sad.
I could see where you would have gotten that. Being a victim was your mother's MO. And when you saw that, you kept witnessing her get away with just about anything. You know what I mean? And not sharing what she witnessed happen with you was part of it. It's that, and it's not that she's a bad person. She just taught you how not to deal with pain. It gets passed down for generations. So the reason why we created this channel was so the wisdom can be carried through the pain. Because at some point, if you're not going to let somebody love you while you're in pain, how can you ever have true love? And you've done a lot. Think about how far that road is behind us. And we're still paving a new road. But there's some significance to why you're here and why this reset has to happen, because you've had a chance at life again. You're like a cat with damn 20 lives, right? And this was purposeful. It was purposeful for your healing all the way.
Do you feel like I've run from this pain?
You ran from your pain, but and ran towards everybody else's pain. And that doesn't give them opportunity to heal. Because you're an empath, number one, a very powerful empath. And if you can't sit in that pain comfortably, it makes them sharing their pain with you uncomfortable, and it never gets a chance to heal because you didn't do it for yourself first. And it's not easy. It's not. The support I'm going to, that we're in, that we continually give,
Yeah.
has to be in your pain too. We hear from people every day who are in pain. And coming out of that, they start to discover something, because we don't want you to hide your pain. We don't want you to stuff your pain. We don't want you to point at somebody else and say they're your pain. You've had pain before that you just haven't dealt with. That's what's causing that pain. And, that's the one beautiful thing about this connection, is how beautifully painful it is. Because it takes all the guesswork out of it, and you actually have to let yourself feel. I believe for a long time you've steadily gotten there, but you're here now. You know what I mean? You don't get to go, okay, I can do this. It's not that anymore. Now it's, what would happen if I just let myself feel all of this? And you're gonna feel lost. You're gonna feel pain. You're gonna feel the heaviness. You're gonna feel lightheadedness. You're gonna feel like you don't wanna get out of bed some days. There's always going to be that. But the beautiful thing is I'm gonna hold you through all of it. I'm gonna love you through all of it. Because you didn't think that could happen. But you could feel it could happen. And I need you to trust your feelings, especially in this pain. Your pain is going to, it's one of our most beautiful, hidden spiritual teachers. But it's the only one we really listen to. And you gotta give it a chance. You never know, connection could happen.
I just know who I am, I know who I am. And I know who I was, right? And
you know what my pain gave me?
what?
I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
That's the beauty.
Yeah.
The beauty is you have limits in knowing who you are. You have no limits when you don't know who you are. And that, I believe, is the most freeing part of the pain. Because the pain, avoiding the pain is showing you who you are. Do you know who you are if you know your pain and love your pain?
No.
You should find out who she is.
Right.
That's kind of the whole point.
It's hard, y'all. And it's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it hurts me realizing how much hurt that I've caused people. You know what I mean?
As cliche as it may sound, hurt people. But people who embrace their pain do something different. And it's inside of the pain that you're gonna find love. It's not without it. Because you don't really know love until you've done that. You've had glimpses of it, but immersing yourself in it. The same person sitting next to you, I don't remember. I don't even know how to be like I was. I don't even know how to think like that. And that's what happened by immersing myself into my pain. If you want to reset your mind, you want to reset your view, you want to reset how you actually experience this world and you in it, your pain is the key. It's how you rebirth. It's how you can't accept anybody else's pain when you haven't accepted your own. And then you start realizing what you've been doing when you start doing that. Let me love you through this pain.
What do I do with, like, what do I do with the I'm sorry, the guilt, right? And there's so much from 30 years ago, from 20 years ago, from really, gosh, do
you know what I found inside of the pain? You need to know this. And we actually heard it. We've heard it several times. Sorry doesn't mean anything. When you're in that pain, sorry's not what you find. You find something else. And that something else I can't even say because it's different for each person, but it's something more profound than sorry. Does that make sense?
But when I find it in me, then what?
Yeah, see, you're looking for future. Your pain isn't about the future, it's about now. And it'll always be now. And once you start projecting out, pain starts seeing that as abandonment. Don't do that. Pain needs to give you something. You got to be all in or not at all. And once you start talking about what's it going to be, your mind starts to try to project from you still abandoning, evading your pain. It puts you back in the same thought process. It won't do that if you sit in it. If you sit in it, you can real time connect to other people's pain. And it's life altering because you can't, you don't have the ability to think the same when that happens. The pain you feel now is real and the future isn't. So you're already dragging it along without realizing it. So just don't. Just accept it how it is now. Well, if you really sit in it a little bit more, that breathing gets better. And then you start feeling something else. And I'm not kidding when I mean something else. It's the depth of connection that you're gonna find. It's not what you think it is. Your thoughts don't know what it is because your thoughts are what's keeping you from it. Pain is real.
I feel like it's overtaking me.
Yes.
Like it's the only thing alive in me.
Well, you thought it was dead.
And I've got, you know what I mean? There's so much going on.
But here's the thing. What's happening to you right now in this moment, you're sharing with all of them, and they're all connected to your pain. Because the only way to heal is through vulnerability. If you can't be vulnerable, you're not gonna heal. And that's what we've done. We both did it. We were good at it. But we were good at it because our vulnerabilities got crushed so young. Not because our vulnerabilities have flourished. Crushed. Our innocence, lost. But your innocence and your vulnerability are in the pain, not without it. And your ability to love will come from your vulnerability. Your ability to embrace somebody in pain comes from your vulnerability. Not if I see something bad happen, I'll run. That will stop. You know what I mean? It's completely illuminating. That's the only way to put it. When you sit in your pain long enough, it illuminates everything. And everything is seen through what we found in the eyes of connection and the feeling of connection. You can't feel it all without the pain.
I feel like for 2 years I sat with it, but I didn't acknowledge it. Does that make
They
sense?
took you away from where you could see what the pain did. So you were absent of what the pain did on the outside. Meanwhile, on the inside, you might have just been able to sit in it, but not really see what it did. I literally stood in front of it and saw what it did. And then I saw what it did. Then I saw what it did. And I saw what it did, and I went. And then I was like, I did this. And then there was something in me that said, no, you didn't. And I was like, what the hell was that? And it hurt. It hurt when it said, no, you didn't. And then it was like, what is that feeling in me that says I didn't? And that feeling, I think, is what we try to bring the truth to without actually going in the feeling and sitting in to see what the truth is. Right. And that's a hard space for anyone. But if you decide just to surrender to it, it's life-changing, life-altering. It heals connections that you can't see, and it changes the way you are.
But then, do the people that I hurt just see me free and flourishing?
That's the future. It's not something you need to see. It's still looking for a way to say that they should be the reason you do it. You have to do it for you. If you don't do it for you, nobody else will. And nobody will do it for them. It's a chain. It's a daisy chain. And until that daisy chain, until you can see the rusted links or the links that aren't connected and actually feel what they did, you don't have it because you're not in your pain to go over and heal it. Once you sit in your pain, it starts to heal. Then it spreads. And it's not something you need to look forward to. Just know that it happens. It happens when you fully accept how you felt that made you do all that, because that's the avoidance of the pain. You find a peace. You find a peace.
But do I deserve that peace?
You connect to the peace without deserve. Deserve is a mind game. Your mind plays with your pain because you taught your mind to avoid pain. You taught your mind to make pain unnecessary, but not realizing that was your mind's ability to be able to disconnect you from your pain. If you're disconnected from your pain, you're not living. You're doing everything from your head. So there's never a feeling associated behind it. But somebody who gets hurt by you gets hurt by your pain. Choices you make, decisions you make, everything that you decided, once you realize that if you sat in the pain and made your decisions from inside of it, you'd make completely different choices. Nobody chooses to abandon their pain. They're taught to abandon their pain. And you now have to realize that what did they make you walk away from, or what did you internally walk away from? Because if you won't let anybody love you in your pain, how are you ever going to feel theirs? You can feel it. It's a very deep part of connection that everybody complains about, and everybody thinks that it shouldn't be there. But that makes no sense whatsoever. We were birthed in pain. Anything that's gonna cause you pain is a birth. It's not an end. And we got it all wrong. So sitting for thousands of hours in pain, can't walk away from pain. Just can't. I won't. I've seen what it can do. It's destructive in this path when you're trying to avoid and you're trying to come up with why it happened instead of what it did when it happened, it does something to you for the rest of your life until you go back and collect it. That's why it feels so fresh, because it was still waiting for you then. You might have been isolated with it, but you might have made semi-friends with it, but you never, ever fell in love with it. And that's why the pain gets stronger and gets heavier, because this is your opportunity to fall in love with it or turn it into a problem.
Right.
That's our choice. We know this was deep, but there's always so many thousands of ways that some things major has to happen for you to start healing. And when it comes to you and it does that, you have to realize that the only way through is to love yourself through it. It's not easy. And I'm gonna love you through it as long as you're loving you through it. But don't worry, even when you're not loving you through it, I'm still gonna be loving you through it. And we love you guys. We're hopefully gonna be able to do things. Stay here and do this. Got some really cool things coming though. And don't forget, if you're ready to heal your pain, you're ready to figure out your connection, we're here. We're humble. We're vulnerable. But it's not like you're not without connection, because we're going to be here. Right? You ready to heal?
Yeah.
You know, it's okay if you say no. Pain's not going to give you a choice. It doesn't know what no means. I love you. All right. Anything you want to say?
Thanks for watching, and we'll be back. We'll be back to update you on. We've got so many journeys that we're on, and this one is pretty rough, Then we're dealing with a burnt house and all that goes along with it, and
The fire.
moving, and just piled on top of it, and it feels as deep as it sounds. There are circumstances and things that take me away from feeling, right? The pain, kind of like a break, right? And but then when that breaks over, I just fall right back into this pit of pain, right? And it's like a lake of so many different regrets and so many different sorries and so many different shame and so much different guilt and so much different, this cesspool of these things that are churning and different circumstances that have happened, right? And I just don't know, do I just keep on letting it flood me?
Yes. Do you know why? Those are lakes. You're an ocean. You'll never not be an ocean. The lakes lead to the ocean.
I want to feel the positivity that I normally feel, that I daily will feel positive most often, right? I'll feel positive and I talk to my spirit guides, and I talk to the angels, and I talk to God, and I talk to my guides, you know? I don't...
But have any of them ever guided you away from your pain?
No.
Then that's what this is about. And all you got to do is ask them to stay connected to you through it. They'll show you the answers. The answers will be found in the pain. The answers will never be found without it. Your pain can get you loved if you give it a chance. That's what I learned. And I never stopped learning it because it's never done teaching. It's never done teaching. And that's the beauty of it. And I know you can't see the positive side of that now because of how it feels. But know that what you're feeling and how you're letting yourself feel it and how you're actually embracing it, and then you're looking at how it spilled and did all of what it did. It's not away from connection this way. It's towards it this way. You can't heal anyone until that. If you ever wanted to heal, you've healed people through things that you've talked about lots of times. This is the new, deeper path that you're going through to do the same thing on a deeper level. Because what I found is it's easy to keep trying to state one thing without paying attention to how it felt in a whole bunch of different spaces and different people and different things. That's when you start connecting larger dots in the pain. And it's life altering, but not in a bad way. Not in a bad way.
Thank you for allowing me the space to try to navigate this. All of you too. I'm gonna work through this.
Heal through this.
Heal through this.
You can't work. Your mind sees that and goes, ooh, permission. No work. Acceptance. Total acceptance. It's, you're gonna find that as you go through the heaviness, you start finding things that you didn't collect and things you didn't accept and things you didn't truly embrace. Because you don't know how to embrace you yet. And this is what this will teach you. Nothing else will. If you've never let anybody love you when you've gone through pain, that tells you about what kind of love you give. And it's not an easy thing to see at first, but then things become crystal clear. And the clarity does something beautiful to the pain when it happens, because it'll keep happening. It won't stop. Once it knows that you are now focused on that before your thoughts, things change. Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for staying connected to us.
We'll keep you updated, as always.
Yeah.
And
don't forget, if you've ever been in this space, you're looking at two people that have, we're going to stay here in this space. Because it's unknown.
because it's a better space to be in than sitting in a closet somewhere with a shotgun
or thinking about it. It's not the point in that, the fight.
Yeah.
You want to put up a fight for what you didn't even fight for in yourself. And it's really hard to see that at first. Because, when you get hurt by somebody and you don't know why they did it, they don't know why they did it because they're not sitting in the pain of it. And once you disconnect those two spaces, it's hard to heal. You can believe you're healing, but if anybody actually looked at the actions that support it, it just doesn't come out that way. So this is a beautiful moment. And, you know, it's about to be
beautiful.
it's about to be a birthday soon. And, you know, you're coming up on 3 years.
I know. Yeah.
So you'll be 3 years old. So 3 years old is when you're really supposed to learn pain. So
there's a
just
lot
go with
of,
that.
you know, there's still a lot of healing, you know, that I have to face even when it comes to my transplant, right? I still have this survivor's guilt inside of me that what this person couldn't have been as bad of a person as I am, or I was, right? So why am I still here and they're not?
That's your mind doing that to your pain. You should ignore that because that's not real. Here,
You know,
think about it this way. That person,
my mind wants
that
to
person
know,
stopped so you could start.
right?
And they expect you to start and continue what they couldn't. So a lot of this could have a lot to do with that. So let your mind not tell you such things.
The therapist, right? At the transplant center I talked to, I mean, they're gonna say, in a support group, they're all gonna say, person was gone anyhow, right? They're gone. That liver, my liver, would have went to somebody else, right? And the guilt isn't, it's not sustainable because that person was gone anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take their life, right? Their life was over in that moment.
But if their life wasn't here, you wouldn't be able to complete what it is you're here to do.
God, it must be big. It must be big
Pay
because
attention to the pain. The pain is telling you how big it is. The pain will tell you how big it is.
Be real big.
And the bigger, the heavier. So
I just want to be free. I want to be free of it all. I want to be free of it all. I want to be free.
pain sees that as an
I
escape.
feel like I've been in prison for 20 years.
Because the pain was accepted or not accepted.
20 years.
20 years acceptance or not acceptance. 20 years of non-acceptance or 20 years of
Non-acceptance.
So 20 years of non-acceptance created even more pain, which is why it's heavy. And you don't have to hide it. You don't have to hide it here. You don't have to hide it wherever we are. And you know I'll feel it. And what have I been doing every time I feel it?
Oh, goodness.
Right. That's what I'm going to keep doing.
Yeah.
Because your sense of family through everything you've been through is the most spectacular I've ever seen. But what happened to you in family, most painful thing I've ever felt. So just that pain, acceptance of that pain, this is where you're at now because you've done non-acceptance long enough. Retired non-acceptance. And that goes for anybody else in there. Come to us. When you connect in pain, it does something. It opens you up.
When I get through it, I'll help you through it.
Oh, I know you will. They know you will. Thank you guys for watching.
We'll be back.